Hi everyone, welcome again to another Oy'Nissh vlog. I am yours truly, Oy'Nissh Grandies, and today's vlog is in the beautiful town of Musselburgh along the River Esk. In this vlog, I'll be doing a 4-part series because I'm currently doing a pre-spring foraging vlog. That is a pre-spring foraging vlog. The idea is to see what especially vegetables at this time look like before they come into season, especially the spring vegetables. So in Musselburgh, I'll be looking at some of the foraging potentials in this area. I've been here before, so I'll be going to some special areas that are known for particular vegetables. There are 4 of them that I'll be focusing on. Firstly, it's wild garlic or ramson. Secondly, wild leek. Thirdly, ground elder. And fourthly, nettle. In previous video, I did 2 vlogs. Firstly, in Edinburgh at the Little France Park, where I did a pre-leek, but I haven't done the one here before, the pre-wild leek, that is. In Newington, on the Newington Castle Estate, I did ground elder and wild garlic. Couldn't find any wild leek, but I hadn't done nettle yet. But Musselburgh, I think, is a good area to include that. So the idea is to go around different parts of Edinburgh, East Lothian, hopefully Mid and West Lothian, to look at different foraging grounds before spring officially starts. Now, because I'll be doing a 4-part series on these 4 various vegetables I mentioned earlier on, I use the time also to translate some of these English words into Oy'Nissh, because as you know, I'm constructing a language and it's in its early stage. Hopefully when I've got enough words and done enough translation and work out the grammatical structure, then I'll be able to write poetry and a lot more. However, one of the key purpose also of foraging while I'm working is to translate while I go along. So these 4 vegetables I've got on my mobile phone, the translation that I've made for them, I'll reintroduce them when I start to do each one of these vegetables. So firstly is wild garlic or ramson. When translated, it's called vuminji. That is wild garlic or ramson is translated in Oy'Nissh as vuminji. Secondly, wild leek. Wild leek is translated as plemunji. That is, wild leek is translated as plemunji. Next is ground elder. Ground elder is translated as sayes. That is, ground elder is translated as sayes. And fourthly, nettle. Nettle is translated as armut. Nettle is translated as armut. So the first area I'll be stopping at is the wild garlic. So see you shortly. Oy'Nissh, millennial Jamaican name, food and language. Hi again everyone. So here I am at the wild garlic ground. So the first part in this pre-spring vlog along the River Esk in Musselburgh is the wild garlic or ramson, which is translated into Oy'Nissh as vuminji, or in New Jamaican English also as vuminji. The spelling is slightly different and can be seen in the video clip. So as I mentioned earlier, wild garlic can be found everywhere along the River Esk at this stage, but I cannot cover every bit of it, so I'll choose just 2 paths, and I'm at the first one just now. Remember, it's just the 2nd week in February, so the wild garlic wouldn't be as large, and they're probably edible at this stage, but they're just too small to be harvested. Maybe they are more for tasters than anything. We're thinking about March going into April now, the beginning of April, they're fully fit. But the idea is to let you have a look at what they're like when they're small. And it means that for people who are in Musselburgh and students at university, the vegans and vegetarians, these are options for you to, come and forage for stuff during spring, But also to bear in mind that with things like the wild garlic, the bulb is under the ground. I know sometimes people eat the bulbs or use it to make oils and all sorts of stuff, but it's recommended, especially if we're talking about students to come and forage, or even people from the community. It's good etiquette to leave the bulbs in the ground so that there's harvest for the next year. So just get a scissors and clip the tops off when they are in season, and then you leave the bulbs in the ground, and there'll be continuous wild garlic supply. Removing the bulbs will cause the depletion in the area, especially if they don't get the chance to flower to prepare seeds for the next year. So let's go. So right at the entrance, I can already see wild garlic. I didn't even have to go far. There it is. That's what they are like 2 weeks in February. Please note that sometimes, depending on how the climate goes, although the seasons are stated by months, sometimes nature have a way of making the season a bit earlier or later. And sometimes during February there'll be heavy snow, but now we don't. So it's fortunate that I'm able to see the wild garlic and it's not a snow covered area. So as I said, here is what the wild garlic looks like. Or wild garlic or ramson. There we go. All nice. Here's a nice cluster of vuminji. There we go. Look at that. And they're quite small. And they're popping up all over. And also there's some wild leek. This is wild leek, There we go. Wild leek. But the focus is not on wild leek at the moment. I'll take it to a different area. This patch I'll just focus on the wild garlic. There's an area with a significant amount of wild leek. So when we reach there, I'll show you. But for now, the focus is on wild garlic. Bear in mind that you've got birds in the trees at times and they poo, so just with everything you have to wash it. I'm not saying that all the garlic will have poo on it. Anywhere when you go foraging or when people do farming and stuff, things are about to get dirty. You just have to wash everything once you bring them home to consume. It's just practical. So I'm just giving you heads up that when you're foraging for stuff, just look out for forage stuff, and you can pick and choose which you want to take and stuff. Yeah, I would avoid those that are directly in walking path. As you can see, there's a bit of path that's trampled up on here, which means that you would want to get wild garlic growing on the path itself. So there's a small path just along here, and there's wild garlic popping up here. chances are people step on it and crush it, but just in case, if you do a pre-spring cut of wild garlic, which is about few leaves, you don't want to take loads because they're still young and you don't want to deplete them before they get a chance to grow. You don't want to be foraging along the path, so stay away from the walking paths, you know, and go further in to get the wild garlic. Here's a nice little patch growing up. When I was on the Winton Castle Estate in Newington, the wild garlic that I showed you are a lot smaller compared to these ones. One thing you can take note of is that you've got the early wild garlic and the late ones. No, they all come to fruition by March, mid-March, April, yes. But because in Musselburgh you start to see them looking a lot larger than the ones that I showed you in Trinent just a day or two ago, it means that there'll be wild garlic ready in Musselburgh before they are in Newington. But secondly, there'll be more wild garlic available for longer in Newington because they start late, which means that with this variation in how things grow, it means that there's always a chance that you can get seasonal products. All you have to do is to travel to one location to get it during this time of the season and to the next the other, simply because some come up earlier than others. And this is the case with wild garlic in Musselburgh. I think they are a lot earlier than the ones in Trinent, Newington. But in April there are opportunities in both. Here we go. Let me take, look, no, I think this one's got flower coming up, I think. Let me see. I think this is the flower. Yeah, see the flower? Yeah, so that's the flower. This is important because it continues the population in this area, the plant population. So that's the flower. It's nowhere ready, but by April, definitely by April, especially late April, oh, there'll be abundant of it. Now, another thing to note, so while we see some wild garlic that the when the leaves are well pronounced at this stage, we've got others that are a lot smaller, resembling what we've seen in Winton Castle Estate, on the Winton Castle Estate, yes? The good thing about this is, in this area, because you have some coming up a little later, they last long, the season for them will last a lot longer. So you can have the early pickings, the mid pickings, and the late pickings, depending on how they come up. So you start harvesting in March, it lasts till about May, favorable May, because by then most of them will be flowering and then they start to die off. June is a bad time for wild garlic because the nutritional content just flop. They start getting yellow and slimy. But let's show you a good example of how diverse this foraging system is. And this is noticeable during a pre-spring visit. So here is a good example. Let me see if I can kneel down. I don't want to. Ah, jeez, it's already. So these ones are a lot smaller, yeah? They resemble the ones that was vlogged in on the Winton estate. As you can see, they are very tiny. Yes. And then you've got medium size there. So it seems as if nature is giving you this opportunity of variation throughout a time span. Yes, spring, you get a couple of months. They are not all in season at one time. This is good. Here's another wee plant. They're edible at this stage. Look at them. As I said, they're not for large harvesting at the moment. Tasters, yes, to add to salads. Later on, when they're much larger, you can now think about soup, making pesto, making bread. Let me ask some of you from Scotland, tell me some of the stuff that you use your wild garlic to do. I mean the area in which you are. I heard there are some in Pennycook. So for people who are living in Pennycook, what do you use your wild garlic to do? Or Ramson? Or in Oy'Nissh, vuminji? What do you use your vuminji to do? I use it to make bread, soup, Oy'Nissh marinades. Oh, yes, to marinate chicken, vegan products, etc. No. So earlier on, we've identified just few plants. Let's go and see some more. This place is also littered with wild leek. So one of the plus, I guess, with this vuminji patch is that you can do double shopping. Yes, you can shop for your wild leek and at the same time your wild garlic. Yes, so foraging is ideal in this setting because look at it, it's so spacious, less trees to clutter your movement, and everything is visible and in the open. The disadvantage is it's easy to get dogs running all about sometimes off the path because it's so close. They can just run in and run out at any times. But you know, welcome to the wilds. It's a free place for all. So let's look for some more vuminji. Here's a vuminji plant. There we go. Okay, some more vuminji plants here. Oh, wow, this Ramson looks so nice. I mean, I could just eat it straight away. They're so healthy. I mean, not only are they healthy, literally healthy, they look so healthy. That's the thing. They look so clean, so healthy, so look at this one. One clip and wash, tap in your salad bowl, mix it in with everything else, and Bob's your uncle or something like that. Okay, look, there's just, you know, that's why it's good to do like a pre-spring vlog. Well, that's what I like about doing the pre-spring vlog, because before it's time for foraging, you see what they're like when they're young and they're coming into their own. So there's a lot more appreciation for it once you start to consume it. You consume it with passion, with love, and also appreciation for the environment. That's why I always stress about foraging etiquette, in that firstly, you don't dig up the roots, the bulbs, because you need those for the next harvest. Yes, the next year for it to grow. Next thing, once they are all grown, you don't clear out one bit in one go. You take snippets, especially if you've got a large bunch. You can take 1/3 of this bunch, go to the next one, take another third, and so forth. So it doesn't seem as if the area is cleaned out. There's always areas where there's wild garlic, wild leek, etc. It might be different with the ground elder and the nettle, but at least for wild garlic, for vuminji, it's looking promising this year. Look at that. Oh, so good. Look at that. Wow. Here's another one. So it's very promising. Loads of wild leek, and look, these are the wild leek, and look at the ground, the surface bulbs. They're everywhere in the wild garlic patch. Yes, so both vuminji and premunji are together. Yes, the vuminji being the wild garlic and the premunji being the wild leek, all together in one place. Yes. Haha. Oh, I don't even know where to start. They're just everywhere, but let's just take you along the foraging ground. Yeah, so a mixture of wild leek and wild garlic, and we've seen wild garlic. Here we've got some smaller plants, which means that you'll definitely get in this area the early pickings and the late pickings. Yes, so, and then you have some just coming up like these ones. You can tell them different from the leek, because already look how small this one is, this bunches, and already the leaves are open up widely. Yeah, look at the leek, the wild leek, the premunji. It's different, it's slender, it's easily identifiable, so in that way you can tell the difference even from an early stage what we're getting into. And the hillside is covered with wild leek just everywhere. Oh, here's a nice cluster of vuminji. Look how large this one is. Give it 2 weeks time. They're already edible. I just want to let me start get carried away. Now let's consider how they flourish in this area. One video I did mention when I was on the Winton Castle Estate, that for some reason wild garlic tend to flourish where there's moisture or along the surface of woodland, you know, on the ground. And this is the reason why I believe it flourishes. So you've got all this foliage from autumn. Yes, the leaves still decaying, the rain falls, and the soil is that good and in retaining the moisture, and automatically, look, here is a nice vuminji bulb. This is what I was talking about. Look how large this is, and look how deep look how long the root is compared to the, let me see if I can find one with the leek, and you'll see the difference. But this is why I believe vuminji does well in areas like this, and also the premunji, because what happens is it's rich in nutrients, it's got good soil and moisture. Let me see if I can, so I've got with me the bulb from the wild garlic. I need to find wild leek and you can do a comparison. Let me see if I can go to a better place and get one. Or just bear with me, peeps. Wild leek surface bulb. Okay, here we go. Surface bulbs. So the wild leek as opposed to the wild garlic. Okay, so I've got him on here and here. All a bit. I'm just getting it. Okay, so look at the difference. Yeah, you just know the outcome in terms of the size, you know. So the larger bulb is the vuminji and the smaller is the premunji, or wild garlic and wild leek. Yeah, this is what we need to protect, you see, especially the wild garlic. You see this bulb, it is so important in the preservation of the Scottish wildlife, and I cannot stress how important it is to maintain the Scottish wildlife, especially when it comes to forageable plants. This bulb is absolutely essential to the overall health of wild garlic throughout Scotland. Here in Musselburgh, at the Winton Estate and East Lothian, West Lothian, throughout Argyll and Bute, Strathclyde area, all those regions, Perthshire, wherever you are in the UK. If you remove the bulbs, you destroy the area. And I've heard of areas, even in England, where people have foraged the place so intensively and removed the bulbs that it's all gone. Nothing growing. Nothing grows in that particular region. Again, I can't say for sure which area, but I was discussing with someone and they were giving this news wherein there was some issues with some people that have messed around in their area and cleaned up their foraging ground for wild garlic. And the result is there were no more vuminji to be had. Yes, so what happened now is they start to go into other areas to do the same, and the people in those regions started complaining because they made one fatal mistake. They removed the bulbs. You cannot remove the bulbs. I can understand the wild leek, but again, it's less attractive for people to remove the wild leek because they're so tiny and it's a lot more labor intensive. But the wild garlic, look how large it is, one size compared to the wild leek. It's a lot more profitable for people to remove the bulbs, the wild garlic. But do not, because it means that once you start to do that, it destroys the chance for wild garlic to grow in that area, because the bulbs are essential. The bulbs grow new plants, that grows new flowers, that give more seeds, etc. The bulbs are needed, so please. So if you're a student at Queen Margaret, and I'm sure some of you will be going into the exam season, June, etc., but at least you go away for Easter holiday and you come back, or you'll be staying in this area if you're a foreign student, or even if you're Scottish and you're not going home for Easter and you want to make some vegan, vegetarian food on the Queen Margaret University campus, or if you're lodging somewhere else in Musselburgh or East Lothian, you can come and forage for stuff. But the etiquette, the foraging etiquette, I believe, is firstly, for wild garlic, for vuminji, do not remove the bulbs. They are crucial for the continuity of wild garlic. Also, once the vuminji is fully in season, instead of clicking an entire bunch, clip a third of it. It's good to have a scissors, because that way you can surgically cut a third of it, even a fourth of that bunch. So for people passing by, when they look, it look as if nothing have disappeared, because the bunch is still there. It's just that you remove some of it. That way now, it means that there is sufficient for the students, for Queen Margaret University students to forage, but also for local members of the Musselburgh community. Everybody get a bit of seasonality. So yes, you go shop at Tesco, the big Tesco down the road for some stuff, but then instead of buying garlic there, you can get your garlic, your nice organic garlic, in the package of the wild garlic itself. But the good thing with the wild garlic is it's got its own unique taste, because it's got the taste of garlic, but it tastes like spinach at the same time, because it's nice and big and leafy. So it's a garlicky spinach taste, I would say. And it means that you can do a lot more. That means you can save the pennies. And international students, sometimes you need to save those pence, don't you? Trust me, I've been there. So if you can combine, if you need to have spinach and garlic in one, just get wild garlic. You're having both. But just use a scissors and click surgically on the big bunch, a third or fourth, I would say, of that bunch, and move on to the next bunch. Don't manhandle the bunch. Just take your time and cut a little bit. What it means is, for all those who will be coming to forage, there's enough. And the bulbs remain in the ground, so next year it can recycle. It can bring new plants for you to eat again. And obviously the people who are from Musselburgh, it's your backyard. You know what to do.